Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Karen Reborn. In case you're new here, kindly subscribe to this channel. So, I know it's been a minute, it's been long, a month, but here we are and we are doing it again. So today I want to analyze a book that is A Long Way from Paradise and Surviving the Rwandan Genocide by LEAH CHISHUGI. LEAH CHISHUGI is a woman who speaks out of trauma, speaks about her life, speaks about things that are unspeakable. But she gets the courage and talks about them in this book. And I know this book will act as a lesson to many, because in this world everyone undergoes some things that you need someone to talk to you. And as you read this book, it speaks to you and you're going to get healed in case you underwent some trauma. That is going to be of help to you. So, to begin, LEAH CHISHUGI is a very young woman studying in a school, and because in Rwanda, there are two tribes, that is the Hutu and the Tutsi. These are two tribes, and they can even identify these people with the physical features. Like Tutsis are identified because they are tall, they are slim, and they also have long nose, and the Hutus are flat and dark-skinned. So these physical features make these people so different. And because of politics, these people now begin to have some hatred. You find out that in this book, the Hutus and Tutsis hate each other in the book. And as you read through the book, you get to realize that these are things that have been caused by the politics of this time. LEAH begins the story by telling us about the background, telling us about the family living in Congo, East Congo, and living with the family there. They grew up knowing that, as 10 children, they grew up knowing that life is okay if you treat everyone the same way. They didn't have that discrimination thing in the family. And to add on top, the parents were Christians. As a young girl, facing many challenges at a young age, and even getting pregnant at a young age, in school, she could also involve in fights with people, when the people could call her Tutsi, when they could describe her, they could identify her. So you can imagine the politics of that place. Even a small child in school can identify this as Tutsi through the physical features, and the children could identify her. And at one point, LEAH even got into a fight with a certain man, and she was also hurt. So as a young girl, she struggles to win. She struggles from day one to win. There's nowhere that we are seeing her life runs so smoothly. And even in high school, she falls in love. In her school, she falls in love with Christian, and after falling in love with this man, things happen so fast, and she gets pregnant. Getting pregnant now with Jean-Luc. Then when they went to, they had to relocate and stay in their parents' home together with Christian as young parents. And then before even settling and everything getting to be okay on their side, even as young parents, then the attack happens. They go to Miles Hotel, seated there, waiting at the airport to receive Christian together with the son. And then they don't get to see Christian, because immediately the plane of President Juvenal's landed, it was shot. And after that, there was chaos, and after some time, you could see that in the street, the blood was flowing everywhere. People were dead, people were killed, and because of that, LEAH is forced to look for a way to escape from Rwanda, because this is the beginning of her trauma. She's going to be traumatized here because of experiencing people being shot, people being killed, and the Interahamwes who are in this place, are the Hutus maybe. They are here, and what they do is just killing anyone with the physical features of a Tutsi. And you can imagine that LEAH's body became an instrument of violence, because from the physical features of her body, she could be identified, and because of that they could kill her or beat her, and because of that, like, her body now allowed the violence because of just the way she looked like. And you ask yourself, being a Tutsi was even a mistake, because if you're one, you are supposed to die instead of living. That is what happens here in Rwanda. And now LEAH is forced to move out of Rwanda. She begins her journey to South Africa. And before beginning this journey to South Africa or to UK, she's forced to navigate through different countries, going to this country, finding escape to another country. And the whole of the 4 years, she kept running and moving from place to place, because she was looking for a place that she can call home, a place that she can be identified with, and also a place that she can feel safe, because that is what home means, a place you can feel safe. But with LEAH, Rwanda was the home, but she was already an outsider in Rwanda. Sorry. She decides that, okay, I'm going to move together with Donata, together with Jean-Luc, the son, they move out of Rwanda. Through many roadblocks, there were roadblocks made by Interahamwe. They made these roadblocks and no one could even manage to pass through them. If you're a Tutsi, you could be killed. And through these roadblocks, LEAH tells us that she meets people, piles of bodies, corpses, dead bodies. And it means that these roadblocks are there to help them identify people and kill. And that is where most of the massacre were taking place. They could kill people in the roadblocks. And during this time, we get to realize that when LEAH travels through, she has to fake a lot of things, even for them to escape from Miles Hotel and even to the next destination. They had to put on some buibui. These were meant to camouflage them so that they can look as outsiders. And even during this time, she even identifies with the rich professor who married a French woman. And after identifying with this, she tries even to speak French with an Arabic accent. And doing this, you find out that LEAH tries to camouflage, tries to hide the truth about her identity, and tries to identify with a different country, that is Senegal. And because of this, she manages to pass through some roadblocks and to reach a certain destination. And getting to a certain destination, it was not easy. It was a lot of work. Remember carrying Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc is young, together with Donata, who was supposed to help as the nanny. They're walking through the roadblocks. They meet people. And as a woman who grew up in a Christian family, she finds it so awkward when they meet the sisters who take them to the church, only to invite the Interahamwe to come and kill them there. And after noticing that these sisters in church never had good motives, LEAH decides that they're going to move out. Even if they're worn out, they're going to run for their dear lives. And they run out, and immediately when they're gone, they hear that something happened behind them. The Interahamwe came and they killed everyone in the seminary, and that is how it went. So as a Christian, identifying with Christianity becomes also a different thing for her, because she feels like Christians are supposed to protect them, but these are the same people who are also giving them out for them to be killed. And she also tries to she doesn't understand how this happens. And then on their escape, there's a moment they reaches a roadblock. They're worn out, everything is now gone. Then the Interahamwe came and they ripped her stomach open. After that, they assumed that she was dead. And after assuming, then they decided that they're going to throw her into the pile of corpses. Into the pile of corpses, the corpses were on top of her. But as a strong woman, she still manages to come out. When she receives back her consciousness, she hears Donata together with Jinlu screaming and crying her name. It was so much painful seeing your child crying, your nanny crying for your dear life, because they thought that now their savior is dead, their protector is dead. Because as a woman, she tries as much as possible to protect her family. And even as a young woman who has undergone so much challenges, who has undergone a lot in her teenage, and even becoming pregnant in her teenage, she still finds it difficult. But in the midst of that difficulty, she is still able to support and to stand strong with the family and also to lead them well. And during that time, when she rises up, she finds out that the belly has been ripped off. They managed to escape. And before escaping, the same people who are coming to ensure that everyone that was in the pile is dead, the Interamois, they come back and now they find CHISHUGI now awake. And they're like, you are a witch. You can't be awake after lying on this pile of corpse and your stomach is ripped open. How is that even possible? And they call her a witch. And because they feel that LEAH is a witch, they don't even continue with the killing. They don't kill her because it could have been easy for them to just slaughter her and make her die. But they don't do that. They just let her free and she can go. And going, she gets to Congo, East Congo. And in East Congo, LEAH goes back to their home. It becomes so difficult because on the way, she meets people, even children that are orphans now because their parents have been killed in the streets and lying. Some are crying, some have been hardened by pain. And what makes me feel that it was too much, she goes ahead and explains in the book that not even birds could sing. Everything was silent. And everywhere you could go, the only thing you could feel is silence. And even the children, they could not even cry. They could not afford to cry, but just keep quiet. The young children that were left on the streets. She managed to take 3 of them and took them to the mothers. A certain boy was taken to the father, the mother was killed. Then the 2, she took them to the hospital and left them there. This is a mother struggling even to save other children. And remember, she says that if I had more than 2 hands, I would have carried as many as possible. So it means that this is someone who is really willing to help these children, really willing to help these people. And from this, we can get the foreshadow that at the end, she comes out to fight for the women, to fight for the marginalized in the society. Again, when we speak about LEAH reaching East Congo, getting to their home, it's now vacated. It doesn't look like their home. Everything seems different because she doesn't even know where her parents are. She only hears of rumors that the father's vehicle was burnt, and that means that maybe the father was inside the vehicle and died. And at the same time, the parents are not there. She's not able to connect with them. Remember, she wasn't ready for the travel. She wasn't ready to move from one destination to another. But because of this massacre that happened at the airport and everything that was taking place at that point, that's what forces her now to go back and start packing and move. Packing means taking her emotions, taking her children. Donata is just like a child to her, and the 2 children, taking them and trying to escape with them. Again, we find it difficult for her because now, as a young woman, as a teenage, you're having these people to take care of and you still have the pain. Because of this, she goes to the hospital, seeks medication, and she's not even admitted. Remember, the stomach was ripped open. She's released and discharged, and she's back home. Meeting a driver, she decides to go to the station and meet a driver. This driver decides to help her out. The desire was to come to Kenya because she thought that coming to Kenya or Uganda, this is going to help her escape to South Africa and even to UK. And because of this, she now explains everything to this man, this driver. Mustafa. Then Mustafa takes her, and Mustafa even goes ahead and use some herbal medicine to ensure that the wound is not going to be painful, and to stop the pain, and she uses that on her stomach to ensure that she's safe as they travel. Traveling, they meet a lot of challenges on the way, and at some point, as a young woman, she's forced even to drive the truck, which she's never tried in her life. So life becomes difficult on her side, and reaching Kenya, again, that is when we see that the body shuts down. It begins with Donata. Donata, the blood starts oozing out of Donata's every opening, ears, mouth, eyes, and everything. And after that, taking Donata to the hospital so that she can be attended to. On coming back, she now collapses. And that is how her body shuts down. And the body shutting down simply means that the body has been through a lot, and it has to be regenerated. And because of the shutting down, the body is now allowing her to survive the genocide, and even allowing her some space so that she can also feel that pain no more. She can also be away from the pain. You can imagine all the wounds, they're not treated so well, just using some herbal medicine, and then you're here again. And because of these cuts in the body and what have you, the body had to shut down to regenerate so that it can come to another phase of life. And coming back to after regeneration, she now gains strength and wants to live as soon as possible. She meets several people in Nairobi who helps her through this journey, who provides even for her fare, because I was wondering, this is someone who left without a thing. This is someone who left because of war. This is someone who was not prepared that she's going to leave at some point. But now, throughout the journey, she's able to get transport. She's able to pay for bills. So people were coming her way to assist her. People are coming to provide for fare, to give them even places for shelter. And during that time, you come to realize that at some point, even if people are wicked, they can also be of some help and support in this book to them. Then she decides now to travel back because she didn't want to be identified as a refugee in Nairobi. She didn't even bother to ask about the family. But on her way now, she gets to Mozambique. She gets to learn about a man who has changed his name. When he used to show people the picture of a Christian, they could identify her and say that this man is not a Rwandan. This man is a Somalian. This man, like he changed his name. And so she didn't believe that Christian could survive, because during the time that Christian was supposed to land, that is when the war began. So it was difficult for her to believe that Christian could be alive somewhere. And because of this, she doesn't believe all these people traveling throughout the way, meeting all the challenges, and at last reaching Mozambique. Crossing the border of Mozambique, you need darkness. When Joseph Conrad speaks about darkness, when I analyzed the book about Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad spoke about darkness and said that darkness in Africa is something dangerous. Describing Africa, it meant that darkness is dangerous. But in this play, in this memoir, LEAH gives a different version of darkness. Darkness can also be a place of solace, a place of protection. Darkness can also help someone to camouflage themselves. And in this play, in this memoir, we see that LEAH uses this darkness. For them to cross from Mozambique border to South Africa, they needed some passport. They needed everything that is used for travel. But she didn't have this because, remember, they were escaping. She didn't even have the time to collect them. So during this time when they're in the border, they're forced to travel at 11 p.m. or 12 p.m. at night, midnight. That is when their travel was authorized in that place. And they could have people who would ferry them to the other side and then connect them to South Africa. So darkness in this place acts as a protection to LEAH. Remember, I spoke about Bui Bui. This was helping her to make herself an outsider. The darkness in the buibui, that no one could identify her face, no one could identify her, and she was using this to hide. Same to Mozambique and South African border. She's also using this to hide so that she can pass over to the next country, that is South Africa. Getting to South Africa, they're ferried there, they're taken there, they're left. And now as a young woman, still struggling with a little baby. Remember, Donata was left in Nairobi. Donata got a fiancé, that is Peter, and they married and refused that it's enough of running, it's enough of the drama, I'm not going. So you will just go. It was painful, it was all of that, but Leah had to accept it and move on. And getting to South Africa, expecting that this is a place that she's not going to be accepted because it's far away from home. There's no war taking place here. But ironically, South Africa becomes the worst. In Rwanda, she was identified with her physical features, I mean. The physique identified her, the long nose, the tall, the brown face, and all that identified her there, and that made her body a site of violence. But here in South Africa, it's now the color. She's a black. And in South Africa, they expected whites, and they were eliminating more black people. So it became difficult for her, and she had to again move to another place. And she even says that, I think there's no place in Africa that I will ever be free. That means that she lost hope. In Africa, she will never be free. And that's why she decided that she's going out of South Africa again, travels to UK. Meeting a lot of challenges with the whites and what have you. But after that, she decides that I'm going back so that I can identify my people. Going to the different hospitals and registering the names and what have you. And at one point, the mother was able to be found. Because when the mother went to the hospital, was struggling with eye problems, the mother was able to key in the names, the full names. And through that, because of the names that were submitted by Leah, the system could respond that this is the woman that Leah was looking for. And this woman now lives in Uganda. She had to travel and meet mom in Uganda. Maman, she calls her Maman. She goes and meets Maman in Uganda. Meeting Maman, Maman is too old. And you can see even as a young woman, there must be some changes because war and destruction that took place, they also make someone to age so fast. And because of this, the woman was now aged. Leah herself was aged, even if we are not told that. But because of the struggles and everything and the trauma and the pain that she went through, she finally meets the mother. Meeting the mother narrates to her about the ordeal, whatever took place. And Leah is like, these people killed my brothers, they killed my mama, and my family is now disoriented. We don't have even families together just like we used to be, and the peaceful life we used to live. And it becomes so difficult. But finding her mother becomes the best thing. Finding her mother again helps her even to understand more about women and the struggles that women undergo. And after realizing that women undergo a lot of struggles, she decides that she's going to come up with an organization that is going to support women. And this is after the death of her mother that she now realizes that, oh, I need to have a foundation just like my mother told me, so that this organization can help me create awareness and inform people about what is happening in Africa, because most of these things, they're never talked of. People keep quiet, people are always silent, some of them fear, and because of the truth that she underwent, she now gets the courage even to talk about it and the pain and the trauma, because there are some women outside there who are still undergoing the same. So after that, they unite even with the Christian. They live together with Jean-Luc as a family, which we are later not told the ending, but the mother dies. And then after realizing that she needs to get back to Congo and speak to these women and to support these women, she creates awareness. And one of the reasons that LEAH says that she propelled her into writing this story is that a lot of history were outside here, but not everything that was said were true. Everyone speaks about what they heard, but remember, LEAH underwent everything that she speaks about. Other people will give us history edited in a way that they want it, to please, even to glorify them, but they will never talk about the truth that took place. And after that, she's now encouraged to continue with this service. And even writing this book has become as a therapy to her, because through telling a story, she gets to be healed. And slowly by slowly, she's healing as she touches lives, even in Congo. So it's a very nice memoir, and it's a memoir of my liking, because it's a memoir that a woman is standing up and speaking the truth of the matter without sugarcoating anything, speaking about how everything went down, because most of the narrations were edited. Some of them spoke about what they feel was right. Some of them spoke about what could make them look great. But now LEAH begins to speak about this. Remember, this is a story of trauma, which is unspeakable. But she stands out and speaks about it. And through speaking about it, I am sure she's healing day by day. So it's a nice book. Get a copy, read it, and meanwhile, continue watching the video as you wait for more. More are coming. That are beautiful, that are wonderful, that you're going to enjoy. Thank you so much for coming back. And remember to subscribe if you've not subscribed. And see you some other time.